Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of True Rain. Today is a beautiful Saturday evening and I thought let's relax and talk about calming things. So today we're chatting about beauty and wellness. I took time this afternoon to write down a couple of things that we can discuss today, and I would categorize them as being niche because I don't see a lot of women chatting about all of these, so I thought, why not be the first? I've got my lovely cup of tea with me. Oh, tastes yummy, but it's a bit cold because I've had to get everything ready and set up my system. I'm going to talk about my 3 non-beauty related tips, and then we'll talk more about the makeup and girly things. I know the ladies only want to listen to those really. The first thing that I want to talk about is something that I have been trying to understand myself, and that is learning the difference between being busy and being productive, because they are 2 very different things. You can be busy, have a very packed schedule, and still get nothing done. When you're productive, your entire day is intentional, planned out, and you're actually getting your shit done. When you mentally tell yourself that, oh, I'm gonna have such a busy day, you're automatically wiring your brain into a fight or flight. Every task that you have to do, say for the day ahead, you are going to be rushing through it, trying to get it done, because you've already told your mind, I've got so much shit to get done, I have to get it done by the end of the day. Now you're going to try and fit and squash everything together. You're going to rush, you're going to be all over the place, you're going to cause chaos. When you sit down and you plan out your day and you say, oh, tomorrow I've got a lot of stuff to do, it's going to be very productive. You're having a more positive mindset. Therefore, the things that you end up doing are going to be a lot more intentional and a lot more fruitful. The next thing that I want to talk about is self-care. I know on my channel, we always talk about self-care, but I have a new perspective to give you. Self-care is super important. And I think a lot of people, including myself, use self-care more as a reward rather than making it a regular practice. It shouldn't be something along the lines of, I've had such a busy week, I really need to have my everything shower and have a self-care day. Because yes, you do deserve it. But even when you haven't been productive, you haven't done anything, you've just been resting and taking care of your energy, you still deserve self-care. So let's incorporate self-care as being less of a reward and more of a regular practice. The last thing that I want to talk about before we talk about beauty is movement. Now, I recently started going to the gym, recently started getting into fitness as of late last year. And I have discovered something about myself. One second. So what I have discovered about myself is that I hate vigorous, doing anything vigorous. So that's cardio, high rocks. I don't mind high rocks, but I hate doing things when I'm being rushed. AMRAPs, time situations, I absolutely hate it. When you lift weights, you're focusing more on your form, and the movements are quite slow. Nothing is very pump, 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 the way it is with cardio and other forms of fitness. So I love things like stretching, yoga, I like weights. I love things that are more for my mental health. I mostly want to go there so that I feel like I've accomplished something early on in the day and I've been at least a smidge productive. So that's why I hate being sweaty. That's not true. I just like to do things on my own time, on my own pace. I don't like to be rushed. I don't like to be... You know what? It's sounding more like I'm just lazy. Yeah. Anyways, we will swiftly be moving on to the beauty tips. The first one that I want to talk about is lashes. So whenever I get ready for a dinner or just going out in general, I sometimes love to add a little bit of pop to my eyes. Of course, I don't mind doing the cluster sets, the ones that last about a week or two if you do them properly. But I like more of a temporary zhuzh to my eyes. And how I do that is I will usually curl my lashes before I go out, and then I will obviously use a mascara. I don't care about brands. I just use anything. I love a tubing mascara. That's probably my most preferred. But whatever I have, mascara. And to the corners of my lashes, I will put on 2 corner lashes. So those are basically the cluster lashes, the ones that you would use for your sets. So I have so many. I've even got the colorful ones, which I love to use when I do the more long wear sets. But the one that I've actually got in my makeup bag is this one. As you can see, she's practically empty because I use her. So I just grab 2 of whatever length or size that I want, and I just use any type of lash glue that you have. Doo Strong. I like that it dries clear. That's why I use that one. Just by adding those 2 little lashes at the corner of your eyes, you're gonna elongate your eye as well as give it a more feline, cat-like look, which is what I love. The next one I want to talk about is lipsticks. Now, I only recently started wearing lipsticks. I love a gloss. I'm a gloss girl, but I think lipsticks are so classy and womanly that is why I actually got into lipsticks again. And my late auntie, she used to collect and love lipsticks. So from her collection, I stole these 2, which I thought would complement me the best. This is the Givenchy one in the shade Flirting Brown. And this is YSL in Rouge Pearl. Meow. Whenever I wear lipsticks, they rub off on me in 2 seconds. Whenever I smoke, whenever I drink, it's always rubbing off on me, and then I gotta reapply it out in public, etc. So a little hack for that is actually using your finger, specifically your ring finger, because it has the most gentle touch. Grab the pigment into your lips, and over time, through wear, when you're drinking, smoking, etc., it's going to obviously fade, but it fades gracefully, and it's going to leave such a subtle stain on your lips. It's going to look so gorgeous, especially if you use a more pigmented lipstick. It's going to melt away to be more of a softer color, and I've tried it. It works, and that's my new hack. That's my new thing whenever I want to wear a lipstick. The next one I want to talk about is your skin moisturizer, I guess. So SPF is super important. Ladies and the gents also need to be wearing SPF. And a lot of SPFs, sunscreens, they break me out like crazy. I am prone to breakouts when it comes to sunscreen. And the 2 that don't break me out is the Banana Boat and the Beauty of Johansson one, my favorites. However, I sometimes just put sunscreen on. I don't put on moisturizer, because when I cake them one on top of each other, I feel as if I get oily so much quicker, and I don't like that. So what I've done, I use a moisturizer that I know doesn't break me out, which is the Nivea Soft, and I mix that in my palm along with the sunscreen, and I put those on together. Gives me such a hydrated and glowy look, because obviously the sunscreen makes you glow and the moisturizer adds the hydration to your skin. This one we're chatting about is hibiscus tea, which is actually what I was drinking at the beginning of the video. Hibiscus tea is super good for blood circulation, for regulating your hormonal system as well. That is the only reason why I drink it. One of my girlfriends told me the recipe: dried hibiscus leaves, cinnamon, and cloves. So simple, and let that boil in some water, then pop it in your cup and sip it. It'll be super bitter because of the hibiscus leaves. So add in some honey or some sweetener, sugar, whatever you like. actually prefer to drink mine a little bit cold because it's less bitter. Romanticize it. It is so good for you. Especially as a woman, if you drink it close to your monthlies, gorgeous. For me, it actually reduces cramps. So if you've got cramps, try and drink hibiscus tea a little bit before. You'll be solid. The next one I want to talk about is your hair. Now, every single lady with short or long hair should be protecting your hair at night from friction. Now, you can either use a satin or silk pillowcase, or you could be extra like me, and I basically collect bonnets. This is one of my favorite. It's got butterflies on it. So big, so stretchy. It fits all of my locks. And you wake up with less breakage and super shiny hair. I don't know what the material in the bonnet or the satin pillowcases do, but it actually causes my hair to be so much shinier. I would highly recommend, ladies, getting into hair care at a young age. It will save you years and years of hair loss. Do your research about the type of hair that you have and buy products and take care of it according to your hair type and your genetics. It'll save you, ladies. Please, please. And if you've got men in your lives, educate them as well on their hair. That's why all of them have receding hairlines and are basically balding at 20. It's because they don't know how to take care of their hair. Now, the last and final thing that I'm going to be talking about today is solo dating. Have so much more awareness when you know yourself so much more. And how you do that is by separating yourself from everybody else. Taking yourself out to the movies, maybe to a restaurant, a park, whatever you want to do for yourself and with yourself, do it. Solo dating is super important, especially as women. And you know what? I also think it's very empowering for a man as well. A lot of people don't like that. They need someone around them. They don't like to look awkward in public and be seen as a lone wolf. But nobody else's opinion should matter. The only opinion that should matter is your own. Because ladies, if you don't take yourself out and you don't set the standard within yourself, why is a man going to want to take you out? Why is anybody going to want to take you out? You got to do it for yourself. Everything in life is a mirror. What you give yourself, others will give you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got a little bit of information and knowledge, and you will start taking care of yourself and using some of these tips and hacks in your own lives. I wish you all a blessed weekend and a restful Sunday, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hi ladies. So I actually just showered and got ready for bed, but I'm just about to do a little ritual that I've recently started doing, and I thought, let me tell you about it. I discovered something called healing bowls, which is a spiritual cleanse, I guess. I don't know if it actually does remove negative energy, but I know that it has genuinely calmed me. So I always listen to it at night before bed, and then in the morning when I'm getting ready, I'm looking at myself and I can't stop laughing right now. This is permanently on social media. This is permanently on the internet. I'm just an embarrassment. So I'm going to show you the YouTube channel that I listen to. I genuinely think that it'll also help with people who are super anxious. It has a calming effect. That's why I listen to it, because it literally soothes me and calms me for the day and from the day that I've just had. So this is the YouTube channel. It's called The Soul Resonance, and he films a bunch of different ones. One's for people who have insomnia, really bad negative energy, all sorts of he literally records everything. And so I just put one on. All of them are very long duration, as you can see, 9 hours. Let me actually play you the one I'm about to listen to. So yeah, that is just what I wanted to share with you guys. and you should let me know if you try it, and also let me know the feedback if you do try it and it's worked for you, and even tell me if it doesn't. But I just wanted to share it. It has helped me, and I'm sure it could help others. So if you didn't know about healing bowls, try out healing bowls. I'll see you guys when I'm a little bit more decent. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.